Hey you guys, thank you for stopping by my channel again today. I want to do a video on women choosing men. And the reason why I wanted to do this video is because I tend to see things a different way than some people may see them. And I always try to look at things from a different angle. Now, I always hear people tell women who have gotten into relationships with men who beat on them, cheat on them, and mentally abuse them, emotionally abuse them. They always say, well, that was the man that you chose. And I can see where they're coming from, but we have to look at things from a different way sometimes. When it comes to men cheating on women, sometimes you do have women out there who are unaware. And when they got into the relationship with this man painted a picture that he was not that kind of man. Or he may not have been that man when you met him, but then things in the marriage or relationship progressed, and he may have sought emotional relief or sexual relief outside of the union. So this is not a video referring to women who already knew a man was going to cheat on them. We're not talking about rappers like Future who already have children, and any woman that got involved with him already knew of these children because this was public. We're not talking about people like Fetty Wap. We're not talking about people like Peter Guns who already has 3 kids. So any woman that gets involved with him already knows he has 10 kids. We're not talking about DMX with his 15 kids or anything like that. We're talking about women who, when they entered the relationship or union with a man, really thought, okay, this is a good man because he displayed signs that he was a good man. And so I just wanted to give you guys another perspective because a lot of times we have marriages where someone does not know or has no clue that the other person is messing around on them because they don't check phones because they don't know to check the phone. It could be a new marriage, they could be young, and they don't know to check the phone. They don't know to check someone's DMs. They don't know that, there's apps out here called WhatsApp or, alternative phone lines like Second Line that you can download on your phone. They are unaware that their spouse or boyfriend may even have something like Snapchat. So a lot of things go on that you are completely unaware of. And I remember watching paternity court one time, and it was this woman who had brought a man to court because she believed she was his half sister. And the man got on the stand and said, "No, this is impossible. Me and my father were close. If I had a sibling outside of my parents' union, then my dad would have told me." And the DNA test proved that this was his sister, so his dad did not tell him everything. There was also a case of siblings going back and forth with another woman, and the woman said that she was their half sister yet again. And these people were saying, no, my dad was not out there like that. My dad did not cheat on my mom. My dad wouldn't do anything like that. And when the DNA test proved that this was indeed their sister, they was like, okay, well, we'll go ahead and embrace her. So sometimes parents do things that you have no idea of. And sometimes your father will have a child outside of the marriage that you know nothing about. Back in the day, men used to have kids all over the place. They would have a whole family right down the street that the mom sometimes knew absolutely nothing about. So I just wanted to bring light to some of those situations before people start saying, well, that's the man you chose, because sometimes not all of the signs are there, even if you take your time to get into this relationship. So you have men who they may be deployed and the wife is back at home and they could be sleeping with someone that they're deployed with, and the wife has no idea. Well, as far as she knows, her husband is deployed and he's just serving the country and he's not messing around on her. So it wouldn't be right to say, well, that's the man you chose, as if she knew that he was going to do that. You might have a barber who may be sleeping with the salon owner next door. You might have a teacher sleeping with his female coworker, and as far as the wife knows, Her husband gets up and goes to work every day, and he's, the best husband and father and a good teacher, but he could be sleeping with his female coworker. You have firefighters who were sleeping with women that they meet when they're at work, or women who they rescue or help. And as far as the wife knows, he just goes to work. There's nothing going on. You have pastors who go on business trips and business meetings with other women, who go ahead and sleep with the women that they encounter on these business trips if the wife doesn't go with him. You may have two people who may be working at a grocery store, and they may start an affair. You may have someone sliding into someone's DMs knowing that they're in a relationship, and they do it anyway. You may have YouTubers who do a lot of relationship videos, and they generate all these comments from women saying, I loved your topic. By the way, I sent you an email, or by the way, I sent you a DM. Can you please read that for me? And when you have all these women asking all these questions, it's not abnormal for someone to start building a relationship with someone, with the sheer premise that they're helping them, and it develops into something else. So, how was that wife going to know that, okay, I purposely chose a man who was going to cheat on me? She has absolutely no idea. What about men with a whole family in another state? I have a friend who said that her mom and her dad, they had a bank account, and she told me that her mom started noticing certain amounts of money missing from the account, like large amounts of money, and she didn't pay it any mind. Well, she come to find out that her husband had got another woman pregnant, and he was taking money out of the account and sending it to this woman. Now, the wife had no idea. She saw it, and she didn't inquire about where it was going until later on, when she kept seeing that. You have men who work in the oil field who travel from state to state, and they meet the women that are in those different states where they're going to be at for 2 or 3 weeks, and they form relationships with those women. So the wife is back at home, and all she knows is that, okay, my husband, he's out, he's providing for us. She has no idea he's meeting other women. You have truck drivers who will go from state to state, and what they'll do is they'll get online, and they will seek out women who are in the state that they're going to. For instance, I had a guy contact me because I was on social media and I had the state that I lived in. This guy actually contacted me, and he asked me where I was from, and I told him. And he actually said to me, well, I'm a truck driver and I will be there in 2 days. Can we meet up and do something? And I'm thinking to myself, like, are you really contacting me because you're coming into town and you just want to meet me because I happen to be in the state that you're coming to, so we can do something? And I literally told him, like, wow, did you really just ask me that? So if he asked me that, imagine all the other people or all the other women that he seeks out to ask them the same question. And who knows, he might have a wife at home who's just simply thinking, okay, my husband's out working hard, he's driving trucks, he's not doing this, but in reality, he is. You have missionaries who go over to Africa, and they're saying, hey, we're going to do some mission work, and we're going to help these kids, and literally either sleep with the people that they go on the mission with, or they impregnate the women that they're supposed to be helping. And there is a whole YouTube video on this, of this missionary who went over to Africa, and he was impregnating the women in the village. And his wife was completely and totally clueless. She had no idea that that's what he kept going over there for, because in her mind, she had married a God fearing man, and he was just doing God's work by going over to Africa. You have teachers who, sleep with students, handymans, cable installers, all of that. I had a cable installer actually come to my house and flirt with me. I had a mailman flirt with me. And so when you have these wives at home who think, okay, my husband, he's just out, he's working hard, he's making money for us, don't say that she chose that man who decided to cheat on her, because whenever we enter relationships with people, we only enter with the idea and thought of who they presented themselves to be to us. So if someone has presented themselves to be someone who is a good man or a woman, or someone who is ambitious, they're working, they're providing, then that's the person that we fall in love with unless something else happens. Otherwise, before we marry that person, that basically blows the cover off of this. So, not everyone who is in an abusive relationship and not everyone who is in a relationship with a cheater knows that and chose that person anyway. There are some people who literally have no idea, especially with all the technology and things going on, how people could easily sneak around and do things. Some people literally have no idea. So just think about that, or think about that other woman's situation before you say, well, you chose that cheater. It may be something that had just progressed over the relationship. Now, my thing is, once you know someone is a cheater, then what you decide after that is on you. But it may not be all the time that you knew that going in. So I just wanted to leave that thought with you guys. Stay tuned for our next video.